Welcome to A Word on Wednesday. I'm Steve Painvicker here in Weybridge. Do you fancy a trip to Wembley this year for the Cup final? Well, you may have heard in the news last week that this year's Cup final will be used as a test for the safe return of large audiences, crowds at sporting events. No decision has yet been made about how many will be allowed to go, and discussions are ongoing, but there is the potential of up to 20,000 fans attending the match. Now, for many of us, the prospect of being part of a crowd of that size, indeed on whatever occasion, no doubt, would fill us with apprehension after the restrictions of this past year.
This coming weekend marks the beginning of Holy Week, when we reflect once again upon the events which led up to Easter Sunday. It all starts on a hill outside Jerusalem, where a large but not socially distant crowd gathers around Jesus and his followers. Now, they've been listening to his words, they've seen his miracles, and they've come to believe that he'd come from God and that he was the one who would establish God's reign on earth. Things would be different. They'd long been oppressed by a foreign power, but now here was a king who was on the cusp of victory, ready to enter the ancient city of Jerusalem in triumph, and they're going to be there to cheer him on. No wonder they were excited and expectant. My next door neighbour has a palm tree in the garden, like many have in this part of the world. I can see it from my study window, and sometimes on a bright and a sunny wintry day, if I filter out the houses around, I look up and I see its silhouette against a bright blue sky. In my imagination, I am taken to warmer climes. Now, there were no shortage of palm trees in first century Palestine. That crowd who had gathered around Jesus picked those distinctive branches and waved them with shouts of joy and of hope as Jesus made his way down into Jerusalem. Here, they declared, was their king. It was not long before their hopes were dashed. Jesus arrested, tried, and put to death. Some walked away disillusioned, others waited fearful for their lives, hoping that something may happen. But then they heard of a stone rolled away, of angels speaking the news that Jesus was alive. The whole gamut of our human emotions are to be found in Holy Week, ranging from despair through to hope. Some of those who were in the crowd on that hill began to see that Jesus was a different kind of king. His kingdom was one that worked inside out, for he had come not to sit on some man-made throne, but rather to invite us to embrace the values he taught and lived by, and let those values direct and rule our lives. For this is how God's kingdom would come. A kingdom that even death could not destroy. The Easter story is not one of an ending, but rather of a beginning.